Am I live? Think I am. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm Brittany Austin, the founder and Chief Innovation Officer of BAI Group. We are a human systems company, and we help enterprises and companies modernize responsibly in the age of artificial intelligence. And so I wanted to come on tonight to talk about what our framework is, our core framework that we speak to a lot. It's called co-intelligence. And I know that everyone is spinning their wheels right now about AI, how to implement it, how to adopt it, how to apply a strategy, where to even start with a strategy in the first place. And many leaders are drowning actually in fragmented tools, pilots, and projects. And they tend to stall. AI projects in general tend to stall at an 80% rate in the pilot phase, the execution phase, and some don't even make it to the pilot phase. They stall in the planning phase. And so employees are left feeling more anxious and fearful than ever of AI, right? And by the time companies do actually get around to addressing this issue, they've lost their employees' trust. And so BAI Group is on a mission to help enterprises, individuals, and organizations kind of mitigate that, right? We want to help you start from the right place in the very beginning versus starting from a chaotic, fragmented place and harming, the employees that you seek to serve, and avoid having to go back and course correct later, which can be costly and oftentimes not still not be successful in course correcting, the damage that we've done in the very beginning. And so with that, that is where our co-intelligence framework comes in. So I just wanted to get on really quickly and cover the framework with you, take any questions, and then let you know how it relates to our co-intelligent AI certification that we are launching on September 22nd, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen. Okay. I'm actually going to pull up the stream in another window because now I can't see. Apologies. Now I can't see. I'm on StreamYard. I can't see myself anymore. Hold on one second. Okay, I see part of it. I see you guys can hear me. Great. Perfect. Oh, thanks, Phil. Hi, Phil. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay. Can you see my screen? Phil, can you confirm that you can see my screen, my shared screen? Ah, got it. There we go. Had to add it to the stage. Should be popping up any second now. Okay. Here we go. All right, so at BAI Group, we don't just rush to build faster models. We take a step back to really take into account how everything that we create, whether it be tools or AI systems or education, trainings, and certification programs, we always pause before we even get started. And we consider how that is going to impact the human that's on the other end or the user, right? And if you follow me in my messaging, the AI group's messaging will always speak from a more human place, right? So I'll always call people humans or people instead of users, because I think like if we continue down as we have been, right, with project implementation, if we continue down a path where we are just leaning into tech jargon, we risk losing that, right? Like in the age of artificial intelligence, as the tools and the technology get smarter and the machines learn quicker, learn faster, they increase their abilities to help us out pragmatically, right? I think it's important to keep the distinction as we move forward into that world, right? Like we are the humans, right? And then the machines are the machines. And I'm for the machines. I love the machines. I actually was telling Phil, who's on the live stream, that I love Descript's robot agent. I forgot his name. I'm blacking out on his name right now. I forgot. It'll come back. Underlord. I love Underlord, right? We're good friends. But I think it's important, right, as we think about developing and working within and around intelligent systems, we continue to make a distinction that we are the humans that these systems and the machines and the technology are serving. And so with that, with that said, the first principle of co-intelligence is a human-led dialogue. And so what that means is that we reject the myth of model omniscience. You bring your intuition, right? It's very human, it's imperfect, it's messy, it's complex, it's nuanced, and it's nonlinear. The AI machine or system or tool brings it back to you in an organized, reflective way so that you can hear yourself and see yourself and your own thoughts more clearly. And I think that that's an important distinction to make as we continue to develop tools and incorporate those tools in our everyday lives, in our workplaces. Because oftentimes I hear a lot of people on Substack talking about, does it really count, right? If we're having AI write emails for us, does it count if we're having AI edit books and written pieces? And my thing is that if we are using AI the way that it is meant to be used in a co-intelligent, responsible, ethical way, then we won't be asking the AI to form our own thoughts for us. We won't be asking the AI to give us ideas. We shouldn't be doing that, right? We should literally be giving the AI data to work with that comes from our human brains and asking the AI to yes, reflect it back. Yes, organize it back to us, but also scaffold and challenge us. And that is the beauty that lies within forming a strategic co-intelligent partnership with the AI system. The second principle of co-intelligence that you see on the screen is that digital dignity requires contextual fluency. This is so true. Using the machines and the technology without context is very dangerous. And so we have a term that we talk about, and it's called psychosensory contextual fluency, but just forget that I said that because it's jargony, right? All you need to know is that AI that can sense not just what your words are saying, right? But your state of mind, your intent, and respond with nuance. And so we embed digital dignity into every tool or product that we create from the very beginning, right? And we test using a digital therapist test that we developed. We test every tool to see if it's able to pause and stop and redirect itself on its own without having to be prompted additionally in cases where the output that it might be leaning in to say is going to be harmful or is going to potentially, not be a successful outcome for the human user on the other side. Because as we think about scaling with AI tools and technology for enterprise in your day-to-day life, right? Using AI as just an assistant for automation tasks. And then also for at the national security level, we have to be able to trust the context is right. And I think that it's impossible, quite frankly, to do that with the mainstream AIs that are already on the market because of the way that they've been trained or because of the way that they were not trained from the very beginning. And so the way that we do that differently is that we are training models right now on 100% human behavior. And I'm super excited to have Daryl come on and talk a little bit more about that. Not tonight, but maybe tomorrow. I gotta coordinate with him. That was my bad. He was supposed to be on tonight. And so, yeah, I hope that makes sense. All right, the third principle of co-intelligence is authentic thought is not linear, and neither are we. And so what that means is that we're humans. Again, it's complex, it's messy, right? It's not perfect. It's not linear. Like we think in spirals, we stutter, we synthesize things at different speeds, and we take in concepts at different levels, depending on where we are, depending on where our hormone levels are, depending on what we've eaten, depending on how much water we've drank for the day. So nothing's linear about our thought process. And so we can't expect to rely on artificial intelligence tools and systems that gain success, right, from a linear data pattern or context pattern. And so again, it goes back to how were we able to trust these tools and these systems and these models if they're not trained co-intelligently from the start with digital dignity from the start, and in a way that just prioritizes human flourishing from the very beginning. It becomes very hard to course correct once you've already gone so far down a path later. And also, there's a lot of research that that validates the point that the biases never fully get fleshed out. So if you start with a huge amount of bias in the very beginning, you're never going to be able to correct enough, right, for that bias that's there and present from the very beginning. The better approach is to slow down, take a step back, and really hone in on what type of data you're training the model on, to make sure that it is contextually fluent from the start and maximizes the chances of humans being able to trust the context and the outputs better. Okay, so the fourth principle of co-intelligence is that one model is never the whole truth. Just like our earlier point, right? We have multiple perspectives. We're not linear. And so one single model is never the whole truth. And so our approach is an integrated, holistic approach when we work with organizations and enterprises around incorporating AI systems. And it's hard to do that a lot of the times because depending on how you've set up your AI strategy from the very beginning, or if you didn't have an AI strategy and you've just kind of been hiring on help to incorporate siloed tools, different agents, right? And now you are layering on fragmented pieces onto an already unstable foundation. It's not going to be successful. Even worse, these problems are causing companies up into the 8 figures of losses, financial losses in court litigations and in lawsuits. And there's not really, solid data right now to even prove just how far the extent of loss is when it comes to employee burnout, turnover, fear. I could go on and on, right? I'm trying to keep this live as brief as possible at night, but yeah. So again, multiple perspectives. One model is never the whole truth, but it really should be thinking about AI from a holistic, integrated perspective, instead of just model by model, tool by tool, or agent by agent, as we're all, accustomed to hearing about building on LinkedIn, everywhere, really. Okay, so the fifth one is relationship is data. This is a personal point for me. I, again, believe that the AI systems and tools that we have now, mainstream, they don't prioritize, or they don't really see relationships, right, as data points. A lot of the data that the models are trained on, mostly all of it, really is binary, series of numbers, letters, patterns. Again, AI learns in patterns, right? But we are building tools and systems, and we actually have a pilot ready to go that relies more so on being trained on human behavior, relationships over a period of time, that has proven in several instances now that it has the ability to stop, pause, and take a second to think about the output before it, if it could potentially harm the user, which has been me thus far. And so I will link the write-up that I did, my white paper, on my ethnographic research study over the last couple of years. But yeah, hope that landed. Okay, so the sixth point is scale, demand, soul. And that means that, again, we're a human systems company. We want to integrate and prioritize humanity, soul, and spirit into all of these machines and systems as we move forward. And that means that we're not just focused 100% on the AI tools and systems themselves, right? We also consider the humans that are around these systems that are going to be using them. And so we approach co-intelligence from a three-pronged perspective, which I've already talked a little bit about, the ethical co-intelligent development of our tools and our AI systems and how we're training our models. Yes. The second prong is the actual workflows and systems that will be incorporated, alongside of these AI tools. Again, we're thinking about things from a holistic perspective. You can't just think about the tools and the technology, right? How are they supposed to work together? I'm a project manager as well. You probably could tell. So I lean into change management as we go deeper into the future of AI. But the third prong that we lean into, right, is people. And so we have to consider at every step of the way, right, of introducing new systems, tools, AI, this, AI, that, how are the people feeling about these new concepts, these new tools that they're expected to use on a day-to-day basis? And I find that there's a gap, right, in the builders that are building these tools, the leaders that, are on a quest to rush into having the builders build the tools, and then the users, or the humans, right, on the other end, that are expected to use these new concepts and these new tools. There's a heavy disconnect. And I find that by bringing in, the builder and working with the builder a little bit more closely to simplify, the builder's message, can do a whole lot of good. So I could say a lot more about that. But also the other thing that needs to happen around messaging is education and training. And so that is my third prong, the people part. Educating, the users, the people, on co-intelligent AI strategy and ethics, what that means, like building workflows with them, helping them to understand a new system, how it was different than before, the goals for where the system is going, right? And then get their way in, get their buy-in. That comes first, though, with education and training. And I am firmly against on-demand education and training when it comes to workforce efficiency and using AI, right? Having to depend on AI for high stakes use cases. So we are, right now piloting our first course or first cohort of the Co-Intelligent AI Strategy and Ethics Certification, or CASE for short, on September 22nd. That is our foundational level certification, but we also have 2 levels of AI Builder certifications that will be launched soon after we finish this first cohort. We have 2 different leadership certifications around co-intelligent AI and training available. And we are also right now working on a kids program, because I believe that the children are our future, and humans in general, especially I'm a millennial. So millennials and the generation right before us, I think it's Gen X. Gen Xers, we've primarily grown up alongside of technology as it has evolved. And no one has ever kind of taught us how to use it. So now, we shouldn't really be surprised when we see the cyberbullying that occurs, and, people not really considering that being you online is the same thing as being you, right, in person. People log into their profiles, people log into online, and then they think that that shields them from being a real person, right? And just honoring and considering and acknowledging other real people that are on the other end of the system that you're using. When in reality, the data shows us that we are increasingly using and living in and online, right, in intelligent systems to do pivotal concepts and tasks that make us human. We're getting married online. We're meeting our partners. We're falling in love. We order food every day. We shop, right? We buy toilet paper online. We build things online. So we live out our lives within intelligent systems right now. Some people would argue with me that we're not already in the 4th industrial revolution, and I would push back on that, right? Because if we're not already here, like, when are we getting there? Like, when is it happening? Because I think we're here. Like, we're here already. And so I think that you have to go back and yes, course correct a little bit. I know I said we were against that earlier, but when it comes to people, you have to go back and really teach people how to act again and behave within intelligent systems, because up to this point, we've not seen, our lives online as such that they should be carried out like we carry out our lives and we behave toward each other in person. So you have to go back and, and then you have to teach employees. So that's just adults in general, like outside of the workplace. So you have to teach employees in the workplace, right? Like what working and collaborating within and around intelligent systems looks like. You do that through co-intelligent training, and you spend a lot of time on that in the beginning, because that's how you build trust with your employees, and you prevent burnout and risks and all of the negative ramifications for just forcing a new system onto someone. And then the third aspect of that is, the children. The children are, the ones that are going to be mostly impacted by these intelligent systems as they grow up. I have a 3-year-old, right? And so I am actively teaching him, right, about responsible ways to act within and inside of intelligent systems. And, even if they're in the metaverse moving forward, like, they should understand that they are still human beings, right? And there's still other human beings on the other side of that. I think we have to do that in a more co-intelligent and in a morally ethical way, right? But I also believe that we have to stop shying away from, technology is bad for children. I completely am against that. Technology is not bad for children. It's just we have to develop better ways to use it with children. Okay, so I'm gonna stop rambling now, but I hope that makes sense. All right, and then the 7th point is we are midwifing the future, not just building it. And so what that means is that we are reshaping the future of humanity within and around intelligent systems. And we are doing that through digital dignity and concepts like co-intelligence that kind of just bring all of it together and centralize human flourishing, centralize, and amplifying human potential as we further dive into intelligent systems. So, what does that mean for the real world? Executives that we have worked with in the past report up to 3.4% increases in productivity and reduced reputational risks. I can go a little bit more, into that in the next coming weeks, but our case foundation certification is where this really comes alive. And so it is a 10-night live training, and it takes our attendees and participants from theory into practice. And so we are going to be teaching this co-intelligent framework to our participants on those 10 nights. They're going to be pragmatically applying that framework to building their own agent, but also thinking about holistically, like with the real use case, how that fits into a backend system that already exists. They will also be forming an executive pitch deck to speak to this AI chatbot prototype that they will build in the problem that they will solve, right? Because you become more familiar and you become more confident with practice with speaking to said topic or concept, right? And that is how you truly become a co-intelligent expert, and you're able to, fully make impact immediately on whatever organization that you're in, or whatever clients that you are going to proceed to work with. And it's not just about, learning what AI is, although we have extensional models, our extensional modules on different models, like how they work, how they're trained. We also show you how we're training our models, what that looks like day to day. But it's also a learning about how to lead with AI responsibly. And so certificates of like our case certification training will be able to actively, problem solve using pragmatic, theory and strategy that they are able to execute immediately after graduating from our certification program. So I will stop my share now, and I will try to see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, remove from stage. Is it just me again? Okay. All right. So let's see if there's any comments or questions. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat, either via YouTube or LinkedIn, and I'm happy to address them. Okay, Phil. Thanks, Phil. All right. I don't see any questions, but if you're watching this replay back and you have any questions, or if anything that I said piqued your interest, please feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. I'm on Substack, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. Feel free to DM me. You can also reach me either at Brittany, like my first name, at baigroup.ai. You can reach out to engage at baigroup.ai with questions. I would love to hear from you if anything resonated, if you have questions. I will also remind you that the Case Foundation certification cohort starting on September 22nd is enrolling now. So head on over to baigroup.ai To learn more about CASE certification, the deadline to register at the early bird rate is on this Sunday, September 7th. So make sure you check it out and, score a discount for something that can tangibly impact your future and your understanding of artificial intelligence, the future. Yeah. So I would just say that co-intelligence, in closing, co-intelligence is not artificial, right? It's remembered, it's relational, and it's sacred. And it begins with how we talk to ourselves, who listens back, and how the thing that's listening back responds to us. So if you're ready to build with AI, scale with digital dignity, and most importantly, become a co-intelligent AI strategy and ethics specialist, please head on over to baigroup.ai, check out the cert. All right. Thank you so much for joining me or watching this replay back. Hope to hear from you soon. Thanks. Bye.